It is July the 1st, 2022. How's everybody doing? TGIF. Let me check my mic. I got a new mic. So let me make sure my mic is going. Just trying to get motivated on a Friday. They say struggle streaming. You know how we do it. Got any security questions? Just drop them in the chat. Okay, I see me there, so I think I'm rolling. Whew, man, it's been a long week for me. So, but we're gonna make it happen. I think I see me. That's enough. So you said, what is bench time? I'm gonna talk some consulting talk today. um, just that bench time life. Let's see, where is it? Yes. Oh, that's the wrong. Make sure that look like the wrong picture showed up.
According to the latest research from the Murdays, some
making
companies
sure my
accelerate
new
trend
mic is working. Oh, that's the wrong. Yep, it's working. Always something, always something. What's up, man? What's up, Cameron? So, let's say we're gonna get started. Let me check something real quick. I am struggle streaming today. Once again, you know how we do it. If we got any cybersecurity questions, just drop them in the box. I'm just gonna go quickly look at my thumbnail because when I looked on my phone, it didn't look like the right thumbnail. YouTube sometimes just don't quite work correctly, but most people know that I am a consultant. I've been one forever, probably 25 years, and I've never been on the bench. So we're gonna just talk about. Okay, that looks good right there. What does that mean? Consultant time versus bench time versus bench depth. So we're gonna talk about all those. So let's get started. Let's see, Lord, that's fine. So most big time consulting companies, and I don't work for a big OJM. Do you think you would like working on the bench, professor, or do you get paid the same? The pays, yeah, I get paid the same. I do not like working on the bench, JM. I've been a wreck all week. I've never been on the bench. I talked to my company, they gave me the pep talk. So I think at most I probably get 60 days on the bench. And if they couldn't find me a job, JM, they probably would fire me. So no, I do not like being on the bench, but now my pay is the same, JM. I work for a medium size, I would say, consulting company. I think total we got 300 people. I subbed under Lockheed. I think they had 100,000 people. I worked for CIC Khaki for a minute. They had like 80,000 people. I was a sub to them, but I've worked with big prime companies. So it's kind of like I said, a little nerve wracking to be on the bench. So, since JM brought it up, what is bench time, right? Physically, what does it mean, and what is bench time, right? We're gonna stay here while people fall in, but so we're gonna read it a couple times. Bench time refers to the time period when employees in a service or consulting business are not engaged on a billable project. Right. So I'm on a billable project. I was staff off. I was working with my man CL right there. I would come in, so I would bill 40 hours, right? My company would bill, then they would give me a piece of it, right? That's really how consulting works. Now, when you work for a large company, right, they got internal people, administrative people, project management people, people to just bid on RFPs and RFIs. like regular huge companies, right? They got a team of people because they're bidding on $100 million projects, right? But your standard medium-sized company, what's up, American Negro, is they're small, right? So it's simple. They get a contract, I work it, they bill, and I get a piece of that, right? I've got as much as high as 80% of a contract, and I got low as 35% of the contract, right? So it just depends on the contract. I didn't know I was getting 35% of the people. Somebody actually showed me the clearing of the contract. I was like, oh wow, I'm getting robbed, right? So, but too, there's a lot to get a contract. There's a team of people. It's just not you, right? So, and that's how all those practice managers and CEOs and VPs get paid, right? They get a piece of your contract, right? And they spread it out. So, the bench time, the terminology is normally used in reference to employees at outsourcing, consulting, or IT service companies. During their bench time, the concerned employees, freshly trained talent, IT staff, service tab, consultants, and project managers are not working on any revenue generating activity and are not deployed on any client specific projects. Right. So that's really what bench time is, right? Is you a big time consultant? And I've known guys been on benches for 6 months at Price Waterhouse Cooper, Oracle, those big companies, man. They have guys on a bench for months, but most, especially small, you're gonna get about 30 days and you're gonna be fired, homie, right? So I always understand that in the end, you're just a resource, right? If you don't own it or you don't control it, you're just a resource, right? You're really just a billable resource, right? So little background while we got people following this. I've been a consultant 25 years. I've worked at the Department of Defense as a consultant. I worked for a large state agency for 9 years. I worked for DOD for 11 years. I was a consultant out there. The weird thing though is like Lockheed had it, they lost the prime contract and khaki came underneath it, right? They just kept the same subs. They cut their pay, but they kept the same subcontractors. So that happens a lot when you're talking about big time consulting. Like every 4 years, the prime contract comes up and people bid on it. You got to be a certain size, really a national company, to build on to bid on those larger contracts. Right? Those larger contracts, of course, 9 times out of 10 have a larger bench time because they're making so much money. So that's kind of the cool thing is if you're at Amazon, Google, Azure, right? They got so many customers, right? Even though you're on the bench, they give you special projects. You really have probably helping smaller projects like we were talking about. I've seen so even security, you kind of do help desk. I'm always sending help desk tickets to Amazon asking them questions. And I usually get an answer within a couple hours. Crazy thing is, I don't even have a contract with them, right? I got some small instances I play with. Just some of my personal stuff. I send them a question, the next day it's answered, right? Because they're worldwide. So my contract just ended yesterday, right? So this is my first day on the bench. The cool thing is my company passed my resume. I work at a large state agency, so some of the agencies, other agencies, might need my services. So they were passing my resume around there. So at worst, that's why I think I might get 60 days on the bench, right? But I'm in no delusion to think if I stay on the bench longer than 60 days that I will have a job, right? They might keep me, but I am not um, relying on that, right, as an issue, right? Because I always tell people, get out your feelings. You are a resource. So let's hit this one more time. The bench time refer to time period when employees in the service or consulting businesses are not engaged on a billable project. So it's likely like most lawyers, right? What's billable, right? You bill the clients, you give them a monthly bill, right? And they pay it, right? It could be managed services, it could be a fixed bid, it could be time and material. I've done stuff where I program for a business, it's time and material. I'm usually staff out where I show up 40 hours a week and they give me work. What's up? What's good? What's good, red pill finance? So that's kind of what I'm used to, right? So this is kind of different. I think my company said they really actually want to shift away from staff augmentation and just really do billable security time, at that. The terminology is normally used in reference to employees that are outsourcing, consulting, and IT service. During their bench time, the concerned employees, freshly trained talent, IT staff, service staff, consultant, and project managers are not working on any revenue generating activities and are not deployed to any client specific projects. Can they make you do non-IT related stuff while on the bench? Probably. I mean, I'm not gonna mop the floors, JM, but probably. I have a vast array. I got an MBA, so I probably could do non-IT related stuff. The problem is, they want me to do IT related stuff, especially cybersecurity, because JM, that's a high bill rate for them. So I think for them, and two is if I do non-IT stuff and what they pay me, right, they probably gonna lose money, JM. But yeah, they could ask me to do non-related IT stuff. I'm trying to think, have I ever done that? I've done project management while I was staff out. I mean, I guess that is IT related. I'm trying to think. I've never done anything that was non-IT related, but they could ask me and I could say no, JM, but I would get walked out the door, right? But no, yeah, they could ask me to do non-IT related stuff. Because you remember, it's always as duty specified, right? When you sign your contract. So I guess they could. I just never done that, JM, to be honest. So what is bench strength, right? So a lot of times you get on the bench. CM worked for one of the big consulting companies. They usually have a ton of bench talent, right? A ton of people on the bench. And two is that's scary, right? Because now you're actually fighting with people to get work sometimes, right? And with any corporations, they have people ranked and identified, right? So if it's a highly consultant that they like that has a certain skill set, even if it's similar to yours, right? They're gonna give the other consultant to work, right? Because they want to keep him on board. So that's one thing you got to be careful of and take note of, right? Are they trying to seek you work, or if you and a couple other guys got the same skill set, who's getting the work? Are they splitting it up to kind of keep you? No, mostly they got a couple people they really want to keep on staff they like, or they've been there, or they're cool with whoever, right? They're gonna give them that work, right? So you need to figure out on that bench strength. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Creative? Glad you could make it. So on that bench, right? So you need to figure out where you rank on that bench, especially if you're on a medium to small company. Now, if you have a Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCooper, where they got projects around the planet, that's something different. But if you're in a regular Midwest company, regular small company, they have consultants that they identify that they really like, right? So you'll see those people get to work and you not get to work. You need to start looking for a job ASAP, right? So once again, bench strength is the talent pool who are available to be deployed on any new assignment or projects, or when a key job goes vacant. Normally, companies build bench strength in anticipation of business growth or to provide for contingency manpower for an ongoing project. To provide for a loss of talent due to attrition, ensure the continuity of business, readily available talent pool to take new projects, available vacant jobs, business, maintain the strength of talent employees, trainees, consultant, project managers, professionals who can be deployed at a short notice. All right, so that's usually bench strength. But a lot of times too is, and I noticed that when I was working for Oracle, they just going out on the street finding people on Dice and Indeed like everybody else. They didn't have this incredible bench strength, right? Some of the bigger consulting companies seem to have that, but most people are just pulling out the same pool, getting on Indeed, and just like I said, trying to find people. So, but once again, when you're on the bench, you need to figure out: are you getting work? Are they sending you on site? Or are they asking for your resume to send out? Right? And two is reach out to other consultants. Two is I got some to dos while you're on the bench, right? So things to hopefully help you keep you employed, and me too, by the way. Are there times on the bench where there is no work and you're not doing anything at all? Yeah. Like today, JM, I'm on the bench. Even though my supervisor was cool, he was like, just relax. But JM, I am from the dirt, so I've been working on my AWS certifications because I'm not getting tricked. So, and we're gonna talk about that. I'm skilling up, but yeah, I haven't really done much today, JM, to be honest. course, the holidays coming up. Like I said, my boss was my ex-boss. He was joking. He said, "Are you coming in Friday?" I said, "That would be a new month. I would have to bill you, big boss." So he started laughing. So now, Jay, I just been doing my AWS certifications today. And a lot of times when you're on the bench, they want you to collaborate. Once again, we're going to go to those things. Collaborate with other developers and other colleagues. I've been really working on my certifications, right? Trying to skill up and add that to my cybersecurity to make me more billable, JM. So that's kind of what I've been doing. So yeah, I've seen guys on the bench for 60 days, not at this company, but another company. They weren't doing anything, JM, to be honest. So yeah. Um, so bench. What does being on bench mean? The term takes a negative meaning when experienced staff are placed on hold in absence of any large projects related to their skill set or domains. They're referred to being on bench, right? Then what's the other term? What is being benched? When employees are limited to when employees are limited by their skills, capabilities, or domain expertise, and do not have a match with opportunities available and are not ready to be deployed in new domains, new skill areas, they are benched, right? So there's two things in there, right? Being benched means, you experience. There's no projects that meet your experience or your set of domains, right? And the other part of that is being benched means you're really not qualified for us to put you anywhere, right? So I've seen that happen too. Like a friend of mine, it was years ago, right? He had an old skill. What was he? He was doing Power Builder. That doesn't exist anymore. So he was on the bench because they couldn't find any Power Builder slots, and that really was his skill set, right? So those are the two terms, right? On bench and being bench, right? So I'm experiencing I got set. So like I said, they just pushed my resume out. So let's see how long, I get to be on the bench. And hopefully, like I said, I've got skills too where I can do a different skill set. I can do PM, I can do cybersecurity, I can do compliance, I can do Java code if I have to brush it off. I've been an Oracle DBA, so I've got a different skill set, that I can be deployed on. But once again, I am really super antsy because I'm on the bench. I've never been on the bench. So let's see what my man JM said. A lot of times the government contracts are very easy when they are full staff. Oh, they're super easy. Those are super easy, JM. Me and my buddy and I'm interviewing. I was actually at DOD for 11 years. He was out there for 23. A lot of guys, especially DOD, they hire a lot of ex-military guys they're cool with, guys that, widows that they deployed with. So we always say 25% of a government contract, people are doing very little work, JL. It's just weird when you see that. It bothered me, but then I came around like, well, that's why I'm employed because I'm doing the work of like 4 or 5 people. So now you're right. When you're in a fully staffed, especially government contract, you're gonna have like 15% of people doing nothing. You're gonna have the top 10, they killing it, and the bottom middle, they just kind of doing their thing. They doing enough work. So it's weird. So yeah, those big contracts. I was on a contract. I think I told you that DOD. I think I had 450 programmers. It was crazy, man. In 5 different states, just the amount of code and the coordination of that. The amount of our coordination team and PM team for 450 developers in 5 states or 4 states. That was unbelievable, JM. So let's see. You are talking IT, because you're talking about. I apologize, but I think this really applies to. I do mostly IT, Miss Gray. But if you worked at Ernst and Young and those big consulting, because they did IT and audits, I think the audit staff was pretty much the same. They had people on the bench because IT and audit used to be the same. So I used to hang out with those guys. So even in assurance and auditing and accounting firms, when they had IT and accounting, Miss Credit, those things were still the same, man. Yeah, I'm a cybersecurity channel, Miss Credit, so I usually talk about cybersecurity, technology, and technology at societal level, right? Surveillance by the government and different things. So that's kind of what my channel focuses on, Miss Creative. So now we're going to talk about what things should we do when we're on the bench, right? So if you're on the bench, what things should you be doing? And I think JM asked that question. Right? Be visible, right? And I think my man Black Heights always talk about that. Go check my man out. He's always on that climbing the ladder tip and being seen and letting your boss know what you do, right? So that's part of this, right? Be visible. Even though you're on a bench, be sure to come into the office every day. You don't have to come in the office, if I don't come in the office, I make sure I call Teams or Zoom meetings with a couple executives, right? Every day when you can. Introduce yourself to any senior managers or partners that work in your local office. Let them know you are available for any work you may have. You could work on findings on any open bids, writing proposals, visual designs, edit PowerPoint. Be sure to be quick and thorough with anything you do. Anything that will help you showcase your skills will be beneficial to your career. This is an excellent way not only to expand your network, but can lead to better project opportunities in the future, right? So we talked about that. I've done that my whole career, right? Reach out to teams, help other teams, be seen, be known. Make sure people know who you are. Because when you're talking about the big companies, they have 100,000 employees, right? So you got to be seen. DOD contract. Oh, we're very well paid. Easy that they were. I actually almost took one of those. JM. I just got married around that time. I was gonna take one of those. It was like $250,000, man. So yeah, I was thinking about taking one of those contracts, but I just got married, and my wife was my ex-wife, which was not feeling with me going into a combat zone. Especially with me, I'm chunky now. I can't run JM. That could be a problem. But no, you're right. I almost got one because I was in DOD around 2000s. They were talking about those type of contracts, and I had my clearance back then too. JM, yep, you can eat well on those. And Keep It Techie talk about when he was over there doing that. So super, super knowledgeable. I appreciate that. I've been in the game for about 30 years, so IT, cybersecurity. I've been in that game for a long time, Miss Creator. Um, so yeah, be visible, and Sam will tell you I'm probably too visible at work. I be doing weird stuff. I gotta stop doing that. I was double flipping birds off in meetings. I gotta stop that. That's not professional, but two is once again you got to be visible. So my company, what I'm going to do is after July the 4th is reach out to 3 practice managers, the cloud, I think it was cloud, compliance, and managed services. See if they need any help on anything, right? Figure out what we have in the pipeline. Figure out, if I can help, even if I'm not billable, if I can help people, right? That'll get me known. So when their spot opens up, right? Hopefully, I'll be first in line to get those new opportunities, right? So that's kind of what I'm personally going to do next week, right? Visibility, two is you want to step on each other's toes. So I asked my practice manager, I'm gonna talk to the cloud guy and the service manager guy and the security guy and compliance guys, right? So those are different practices we have at the consulting company I work for. Let's see, dropping in and say salute. That's cool, Helmut. I appreciate that. Check the replay out. So what's the other thing on the bench time? Okay. Let's see what Miss. If you were my hubby, I wanted to tell you to make. Miss Craddy said, "Take one for the family. Make sure your insurance is all paid up." Shout out to Miss Craddy. I feel you. I feel you. Would you take a help desk position if that was the only one that can offer you professor? Oh yeah. I mean, do I have to take a pay cut, JM? That's it. Yeah, because in the end, JM, I'm from the hood and dirt, man. You gotta eat, so hopefully my skill set, I wouldn't have to do that. But yeah, I'm not too proud because I think a lot of people get in financial trouble because they wait too long to start working, right? Right. I'm old now, I have family, right? I'm divorced. My son is grown, but if I even without the family, Jam, I'm gonna start making money ASAP, right? The cool thing though, I'm on the bench, so I'm getting paid. But let's roll it forward. I'm about to get laid off. If the only thing was a help desk and I had to take a 50% pay cut, I'm gonna start working, Jane. I'm gonna make a comeback, but I gotta start working. So yeah, the first thing I'm all about making money, right? So I'm at an age where I'm not too prideful anymore. I came on YouTube to help people, right? To give people skills and ask me questions. So now, JM, I am going to start making money ASAP, right? But I've been on Upwork, so we're going to talk about that as being a digital nomad. I've always took side work off of Upworks, right? If you Google Upworks, they put projects out there. You can make anywhere the skill set between 30 and $75 an hour. It's a little hard because you bid against people around the world, but I won bid on Upworks. So I can grind it out, JM. I have a side wheel program for food. I got a Java background, JM. I'm not scared. So let's get it. Where do you work? Not the exact location. I work. No, I'm not scared. I'm in Indianapolis, Indiana, Midwest, and I work for the Department of Revenue, where people pay their state taxes. Since I'm no longer on that project, so it don't matter. It's great. That's exactly where I work. I do cybersecurity, federal compliance. The Department of Revenue reports to the IRS. So my job is we get physically audited every 3 years. Shout out to my man CL in there. We work together. So we prepare for audits. We do a little everything. Review firewall rules. The IRS has something called IRS Pub 1075, which is special security compliance that goes on computers that take your tax revenue. So we make sure the computers are locked down, nobody steals your tax refund or your identity, right? At a high level, Ms. Creative. So, and two is I taught at a local university for 10 years. I just stopped doing that. So I've always got my grind on, have multiple streams of income and, start working. So that's what I do. I've been in the IT game for 30 plus years. I got my bachelor's in computer science in 1990. So I've been in the game a minute, Ms. Creative. And I'm back at it. Yeah, man. Keep grinding, him. I didn't pass the CISP 15 years ago, man. It didn't hurt me. You just got to keep going, man. I was close. Let's see what happened. I was close. Post losses as well. Oh, yeah, man. I always, man. The losses help more with the win, man. And to be honest, well, that's not a loss, man. That's just a stepping stone, man. It ain't stopped nothing, man. You're gonna keep grinding. You're gonna pass it. So I wouldn't even consider that a loss, man. That's part of the process, man. Check the site. We work remotely. Five. So yeah, that's just part of the grind, Helmet. Especially some of those certifications, they actually expect you to fail your first time. Some of those are super hard, man. So, and the cloud is where you want to be. So definitely stay on that AZ. I'm on the AWS side, racking up my certs. Like I said, I got 4 now. So I'm trying to take my 5 in the next 2 weeks. So I'm trying to be over-certed. So I'm keep grinding, Helmet. If there's anything you need from me, I'm not in Azure life. Let me know. I need to step my game up. You there, Miss Creative? Yeah. Like I said, Helmet, that's definitely part of the process. And two, and even though you failed, you picked up some skills, you got some terminology, so it's not one big deal. So now you can at least have a conversation about Azure, even though you're not certified, right? So that's definitely part of the process, man. I wouldn't even consider that an L, man. Let's talk about the business development. Work is your opportunity to learn about sales without a lot of pressure. If you are a solo in your area, start building templates and materials to increase your company's intellectual property in that area. Think back about the engagements when you wish you had a template, X or Y. Now the time is to develop all those tools. You have to put up some of your grunt work that you would usually delegate to interns, and you probably be doing all sorts of assorted work you might think is beneath you. But this is also your chance to impress some big wigs and get your name out there and help. So that's two is kind of what I'm doing, right? I'm on the bench right now. So like I said, working with templates. I do a lot of policies and procedures, right? So getting the policies and procedures templates together. If you come fresh on a new project, what do you need to hit the ground running, right? I got templates for policies and procedures. I got security checks for different systems, all right? FedRAMP, which is federal cloud compliance. I got my templates for that. Once again, I'm AWS stuff, so I've been working on building more secure architecture, getting my security skills up in AWS. So when I'm put on a project, right, I'm ready to hit the ground running. Shout out to I've been labbing every day, and I'm gonna start showing my labs here, right? Building a 3-tier architecture, putting it on 2 separate data centers, right, that are 100 miles apart. That's called a region in AWS, right? If I shut down one region, it automatically fails over to another region, right? Once again, we do federal compliance here. It's called STIGs or CIS. What are federal compliance checks that I need to put in AWS to make sure we can pass a federal audit, right? That's not out the boxing for AWS. That's my skill set. That's how I get paid. So what do I need to hit the ground running for that in AWS in the cloud, right? So even though I'm on the bench, like I said, I'm skilling up, I'm learning. Shout out to my main engineering cannabis. I might start looking up some AI machine learning while I'm on the bench. So shout out to my man. So glad he could join me. Let's see the process. Aiming for only 2 certs. I'm aiming for only 2 certs in the cloud and Azure. That's cool. Let's see, helmet. So once again, a business development, because even though I'm a consultant and I don't own a business, when I go on site, right, if I'm staff aug or I'm working on a project for that client, I'm actually doing business development for the company, right? Number one is I'm trying to get more business for the company so I can get paid. And 2 is if I do a good job, they bring other consultants from my company, right? So my company becomes more stable and can pay me, right? And hopefully give me a little more bench time before they fire me, right? So, but that's part of that consulting game, right? You know that. You know your resource. You know if the contract goes away, you're probably going to get 30 or 60 days at most, right? Then you will be fired because you're resourceful. On this channel, we like to be really real. Don't fool yourself, right? People like you, but they don't like you if you're not making money for them, right? So that's big. So once again, that business development, your opportunity to learn about sales without pressure. Once again, because I'm a hot consultant. I'm almost kind of like a practice manager. So when I'm on site, right, I'm talking to CIOs, CEOs, chief information security officers, right, chief information officer. My last day, I talked to the commissioner, which is actually a president for a state agency, right? Because we were in meetings together. He actually gave me, a shout out. He's gonna write some on my LinkedIn, right? So, but that's what we were talking about, visibility, right? The cool thing is they offered me a job. It was just a little lower pay than what I make as a consultant, right? So, worst case, I guess I could go back and maybe hopefully get that job if I needed to. That would be my plan Z. But shout out to JM. We're gonna keep grinding and making it do what it do, right? So we just talked about this. While you're on the bench, learning and development, right? So consulting is a knowledge business. Consulting firms are in the business of renting brains for money. I like that. Renting brains for money. I like that. Most consulting companies will either offer you either in-house training or possibly sponsor professional certifications to grow their people and increase their billing rates. Often it's cheaper for the firm to offer those sorts of courses than to lose consultants. It's also about keeping people engaged in the knowledge business. Sign up for anything you can and get your name on. And my company's real good about that. Which I have my own, but they get LinkedIn Learning plural site. They said if anything on AWS, I think I can get up to $2,000-3,000 worth of training, right? But remember, if they give me, they're gonna take that out of my check if I leave in a year, right? But I believe that's fair. But most companies will invest in you. You need to figure out what's hot. We know it's cloud. We know it's cybersecurity. We know it's machine learning and artificial intelligence. Is that Python, right? Is that statistics, right? So you need to figure out what path are you looking for. Even though I'm on the bench, right? I'm looking forward. We joke about that, right? I'll be 54 soon, right? So I got 10 more years left. So I need to figure out what's the next bag I can run now for 10 years. And for me, that's AWS, cybersecurity, compliance, being HIPAA, FERPA, which is education, FISMA, which is DOD, right? So IRS Pub 1075 is IRS, right? So I've done those compliances. So I'm trying to put a bow on all that and get me to the last 10 years before I retire. And part of that, once again, is learning and development, right? Businesses renting out your brain for money. I like that, right? And we talked about professional certifications. Hillman, shout out for him. He's going to keep grinding in Azure. I'm going to keep grinding in AWS. I'm also going to take which I should have done this a decade ago, retake my CISP because a lot of big consulting jobs are CISP is actually required. I was going to do the CISP, AWS DevSecOps, probably the CAP, YSA, and that might be it. I'll be overcerted though, so I'm definitely gonna, which I'm dread, getting that CISP grind on because I probably need that for this last 10 years. DoD employees and contractors, HA access to federal platform to learn cybersecurity. Oh, DoD or contractors have access to federal platforms to learn. Is that a question or a statement, JM? When I was there, it was so long ago, we didn't have a platform to learn. I know they got platforms for cybersecurity to do those trainings and drills, blue team versus red team type stuff. So let me know. Expand on that a little bit, JM. Is that a question or a statement? So once again, I worked there probably 10 years ago now. When I got there, that's how I got into cybersecurity and learning up. But they were just really growing into cybersecurity. Like I said, I just kind of fell into it on a humble. I was actually web admin and the application admin, and they came out and gave us the security checks for those two, Apache and Tomcat, and me and a couple fellas had to figure it out. One of my homies who works for AWS now, he figured out most of that stuff, and that's how I got on hardening systems in DoD and getting in compliance and just kind of growing into that, right? So, what is non-billable work? Non-billable to clients, you can pick up valuable skills such as invoicing, clients relationships, publications, sending up follow-up emails. Again, not glamorous work out there, but important stuff that makes consulting work. It can benefit you. You should also check out pro bono and corporate social responsibilities initiatives for your firms. You get a chance to deploy your skills and help nonprofits and charitable, right? My company's real big on that. They do, which is shout out to them. They do Habitats for Humanities. They do a lot of stuff for the community for that. So that's definitely it. I usually just scratch a check. I usually don't do that type of work. But once again, that'll get you seen in front of the executives, get you working out there. Shout out to Black Heights and Textual Chatter. They help people with career development. So let's see, federal website run by federal LinkedIn Learning. They have courses and currently. Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, so they do have those sites. Like I said, I haven't worked there so long, JM. I've never actually logged in on sites. I've heard about them. I've been on a couple panels where they were bringing that up. I think actually Keep It Techie, because he ex-military, Tech G, ex-military. So I think they were bringing up those sites on their channel, JM. But yeah, no, that's true for that. So knowledge management. Let's see. In the end of the day, consulting is fundamentally a people-oriented business. It depends on consultant's experience and expertise. You cannot build wealth you can't build on the wealth of a completed project if you don't know what happened in the past. This is where corporate intranets or shared folders come in super handy. The work doesn't have to be original or groundbreaking. As a matter of fact, if you solve a problem the same way as somebody else, that's beginning of validating an approach. In consulting, this is called best practices, extremely valuable. In many consulting engagements, reinventing the wheel is sometimes inevitable, but you should do what you can to learn from expertise. Use your bench time to put your name out there as an expert, right? And we were just talking about that. When you get your certifications, being Azure, AWS, Google, or any of that, most of the times what they're teaching you are best practices, things that they know worked in the past, even if it's different size company, right? Last weekend we were talking about zero trust architecture, right? That's a hot thing in the government, right? How you secure your networking, how you control your networking traffic, right? there's a lot of best practices out there for that, right? Even though it's a framework, and depending on what tools you use and the size of your company, there's probably 3 or 4 best practices for your size company. So you should not be trying to invent the wheel, right? And I'm gonna start talking about this AWS. AWS has a ton of reference architectures, meaning this is what they believe you should start with. Now, of course, each company does things a little different or has a lot more transactions or they're doing a little more machine learning, but the base architecture, the reference architecture, should start off like this, right? And that's going to take care of most of your issues, most of your bugs, right? Usually 80-20 rule, right? 80% everybody's done takes you 20% of the time. That last 20 is hard, right? That's where you trying to come up with something unique or somebody has a unique idea. That should take 80% of your time, right? So if you could do that as a consultant, you're killing the game because if you get most of it running up and 20% of the time and 80% of it's working, you're killing it. So now we're talking about security, compliance, what technology we're going to use to speed this up. What's the best model? What is our differentiator as a company as far as an idea, right? You got to remember technology is really is to implement an idea. I always laugh is if you would have brought Snapchat to me, I would have told you that's a stupid idea. People putting their tongue out with a cat. That's $1 billion company, right? Really, you just taking short videos, right? People been doing that for 20 years, but they made it an idea, right? And put advertisement around it. Now it's $1 billion company, right? Technology facilitated, but the idea was brought up by the person and facilitated with technology, right? So this is what I'm great, dude. You on the bench, let's relax a little bit. Yeah, focus on your fitness, strength. Many of us drop fitness. Yeah, I've been working too much. Pandemic, man, I'm looking like a broke Rick Ross, man. I gotta lose some weight. So that's what PBO gonna do while you on the bench. I'm gonna get my walk on in the morning, come back, work, do my bench stuff, what we talked about, till they get me on the client, right? So definitely gonna make that happen. Diet, definitely hot on a diet. Take time to learn. I gotta get my healthier meals on. Give me a few inches off my waistline. Facts. I gotta sleep. Yeah, I be on my grind, so I'm gonna sleep. I'm a routine guy. That's one reason I'm not doing well today. You need to fill your days, and so you don't feel unproductive. Yeah, I'm a routine guy, man. I went to the same client, same desk, same day, right? So I'm a routine guy. So now I'm kind of off routine. So I am super antsy, but we do have to, establish a routine. Now that I'm out on the bench, right? What is going to be my new routine? So, hobby, right? I love golfing. I haven't picked up a golf club probably in 2 years since my mom died. So I might go out to the driving range and do a little something, something. My nickname is Chunky Woods. Go out, put a little work on a few people. So network, that's what I'm doing. I'm about to get on my LinkedIn, get out, see people, work with your colleagues. Shout out to Kev Tech. He is the LinkedIn king. That brother be liking my stuff on LinkedIn. Shout out to Kev Tech, man. He helped me get a lot of files. Kev Tech be busy on LinkedIn. And the cool thing is people reach out to me on LinkedIn. Some of them professional, some of them personal, some of it's interviewing, right? So the LinkedIn profile, shout out to Textual Chatter, Black Heights, Kev Tech, Keep It Techie, right? I got to get my LinkedIn game up a little bit, right? Making an effort with your families, your partners, or your kids, whoever, make time for your family. Yeah, shout out. I'll probably go see the grandbabies. I love the grandbabies. They love me. I love them. I got to go see them on vacation. Yeah, once I get locked down and get my next thing, I'm going to go to Vegas and spend a little money. I've been to Vegas probably 8 years. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me see. I'm going to drop the link. So let's go back. Let's see what's in the chat real quick. So once again, it's my first day on the bench. So I kind of relaxed a little bit, got it moving. So let's see what my man. In certain fields you can't use some of the facts on it. Yep, especially in your field, right? Find something. Yep. No, you're correct. You're correct. Some people that want you. I thought you were walking. I am Miss Creative. I got to be more consistent. I started and kind of stopped. I got to get every day I gotta be walking Miss Creative. So I don't want to fib and lie. I was walking, but I'm not consistent. I need to be every day. I used to run 10Ks about 3 or 4 years ago. I used to run a mini marathon, so I got to get it back. I'm far from that, so but it's all good. LinkedIn is the hidden gem that's not hidden. is not hidden. No, facts, broke genius. It is. And as an older person, I need to start doing a little bit more. I'm gonna use that as my excuse. But nah, you're right. Especially since I passed those 4 AWS certifications, my LinkedIn been jumping off. What is bench time? I'm gonna go to the top. I'm glad you joined us, bro, genius. And I was gonna. What is bench time? This is it from a big consulting company. I work at the consultant company, so this is what bench time is. Bench time refers to the time period when employees in a service or consulting business is not engaged on a billable project, right? So my client didn't renew my contract, so my consulting company can no longer bill that client money for me coming there, right? So since they can't bill me, being on the bench is I'm on the company bench while they find me another assignment, brokers genius. So long story short, they reached out to a couple of large state agencies, so hopefully I won't be on the bench time. The terminology is normally used in a reference to employees that outsourcing, consulting, and IT services. During their bench time, the concerned employees, freshly trained talent, IT staff, consulting, project managers are not working on a revenue generating activity and are not deployed on any client specific projects, right? So that means you're just an expense, right? So usually I was generating money. They would bill a client and they gave me a piece of it. Now they're not billing anybody. I'm on the bench. So that's what it is, G's. So let's see what he said. I'm on bench time too. So yeah, so that's what it is. So what do you do to them, Professor? Oh, nothing. It was rare. I actually was on that client for 10 years. Most of the time, when you as a consultant, like I pay, usually they bring you in for a couple of years, you get everybody trained, right? Then you roll off. I just was blessed. I was on this contract for 10 years. And long story short, with the pandemic, the state wasn't bringing in as much tax revenue, so they were making cuts. So I saw the the cuts on the wall. So they had to make a 20% cut, and I'm gonna put it out there. I'm probably one of the highest paid people at that large state agencies because state doesn't pay as well as commercial work either on this creative. So like I said, to get a 10-year run as a consultant at one client, I was blessed. So no, it was just a budget cut. And two is, when did you do this? So, and that's normal. When you bring in a highly paid consultant, your job is to come in, like we talked about, 80% rule. We're gonna get it spun up, got everybody rolling, got everybody good on. Oh my God, those first couple of years trying to get them on security, man, we were going at it. But now get the we call it the battleship turnaround for security. Got them heading in the right direction. The audits are going well. Everything's pretty locked down. All the processes are rolling, Miss Creative. So the consultant's time is now to leave, and the employees there to pick the ball up. They're trained and ready to go. So that's normal in this business. What's up? Peace to you. I'm not a texture, however, I'm enjoying this kind of spread from you. What industry are you in? Future Vision, but like I said, I've seen it in different other agencies have things like accounting, auditing firms. The old Arthur and Anderson, they used to have IT and accounting, and they split it off. But accounting firms and Lockheed and Raytheon are big consulting firms. They do more than IT. They got bench time for their consultants. So it's not just IT, but it's probably a bigger point in IT. So yeah, so that's it. And even if you're not on the bench, if you're not generating your employer a profit, they're gonna get rid of you, even if you're on the bench or not, right? It's a little more obvious with bench time. Okay, he's not billing, so therefore he's an expense. But if your company's revenues goes down, they're gonna start cutting people too, right? So it's one and the same, right? Like I said, it's a little more obvious with bench time, but I always try to rank myself. So if you're at the bottom and profits start going down, you will be fired. I'm in a tech, but not IT. I agree 100, 100. So yeah, so like I said, so for me, my thing is becoming visible in the company. I'm gonna reach out to people after the fourth. Um, Still getting my AWS certifications. That's high on my list. I got four right now. My little LinkedIn started jumping off when I got the four right, but I'm currently happy with the consulting company I'm at. They're reaching out to their other clients to figure out if they can find me a spot. So that'd be my number one thing, probably, because I don't like change, but to stay where I'm at, I'm super happy. But two is I was with that client. I actually was on that client before the current company I work for was in there. I was actually working for another company, and I actually brought that client to this consulting firm, right? Like I said, I've been with that client for 9 years and 7 months. So we had a great understanding. Like I said, we had a great run. Um, my boss, who actually went out to Colorado, when we first talked, she said, "Oh, you probably be there 3 years to go do something else." But I got 9 out of it. So like I said, I can't play. I got 11 years out of DoD, right? So out of two big clients, I've got 20 years of consulting work. Ate well. I need to lose some weight, but I ate well on those two large contracts, right? So from that point of view, I can't complain. And shout out to Miss Creative. They like me. They offered me a job. I just make quite a bit of money, that more than what they offer me, right? So, because state usually can't pay as much as commercial, right? I dropped the link if anybody want to come up, but so that's what bench time is, and I'll probably keep talking about bench time and being a consultant and different contracts. And two is I've seen consultants kind of fight for work, right? So you got to be careful on who gets work. How do you do that, right? And how do you interact with inside your company? Because you can step on people's toes and people get a little upset, right? So you got to figure out how to be aggressive with not stepping on toes. Collaborate with executives to make sure you're in that group that's going to get work, right? Because a lot of times consulting companies know who they're going to fire, right? So they leave you on the bench for a little while just to see if something's going to fall in your lap. But those high dollar, high visible projects are already designated for certain consultants in your company, right? So you got to figure out, are you one of those? Are you on the outside, right? So those are things you have to look out when you deal with consulting companies, right? So once again, it's all good. You just got to be aware, which most of us are. We can see the writing on the wall. We know who's favored and who not favored, right? In this IT world, right? And I always tell people, my mom used to say that. She passed away at 91. Life is not fair, young man. If you think it's fair, you are mistaken, right? So I never think life is fair. I don't think it's a meritocracy, right? I'm trying to survive in this corporate jungle, right? So that's how we gonna get it. I always start off my videos, you see it, let's get it, right? So I try to be consistent, right? I try to be realistic, and that's it, man. I try to live my life open. I came on YouTube to drop a couple gems, and y'all to pick them up. Then I'm gonna go retire. So that's kind of my issue, man. Oh, Black Dove just come in with shout out to Black Dove. Yep, man, just had their favorite. They always do, and I don't get mad. I don't say it's this. I don't say it's that. That's just part of the game. I got to know where I fit in at, right? So, like I said, sometimes it sucks because you like, I give me some work. I want to work, but sometimes they haven't identified. So once again, you need to get your skill set where you only do a certain things and certain things you're great at, so you can only do that work, right? There's very few people that do FISMA and DOD work, right? That federal work, that IRS Pub 1075, top to the IRS work, right? So what is your niche, right? And what is your niche worth, right? People always talk about I need to make six figures, or I'm high value this, or my skills or that. The market's going to tell you what that is, right? The rest of that is talking, right? So that's what mom is absolutely all facts. And she was always getting on me. The older I get, the smarter she get, right? So that's I always hear her talking to me as I get older, right? Those little things are my favorite. My favorite thing is I I've been doing a little too much real estate lately, so I always hear in my voice, "You need to sit still, young man." When I was little, running around the house, she'd be like, "You need to sit still." So in my movement and all this stuff, I hear my mom, "You need to get somewhere and sit still," right? So shout out to my mom, but that's all I got. If drop any links down there. I just want to come in and talk about my first day on the bench. What is bench time, right? And how do you navigate that? Let's see my man engineering cannabis says. That is science. I make sure I'm always the top of my skills and knowing when anything happens, I can get a job in 2 weeks. I still feel it 5. So I'm trying to be on what engineering cannabis says, right? I decided that I was doing a lot of AWS security reviews. A lot of vendors were using that. And I was good at that. So I was like, let me get my AWS certifications, right? I'm not a huge certification is, but the HR algorithm starts out with certifications, it seems, right? So like engineering cannabis says, what skills do you have? What knowledge do you have, right? So federal compliance with AWS, right, is kind of what my skill set is to kind of get me at the top of the list, right? Two is, let's be realistic for me, is I'm 54, right? So I want a little more money and I'm older, right? So we're usually the first one fired and the last one hired. So I got to make sure my skills are at a certain level, right, to make sure I can make that leap. Somebody hit me up on one of the LinkedIn. I was just responding. Yeah, so that's kind of it at a high level. So like engineering cannabis, that's why I'm labbing every day. And he always talk about studying his game. He talks about studying his game and what does that look like, right? So after we get off this phone, I'll be labbing every day studying for my next AWS certifications, right? I'm trying to get, study and work my way up to the professional levels. I got a professional architect and a professional DevOps, right? So I'm getting close to start studying for those. So that's on my and even if you're working, right, you want to have what are you trying to accomplish this year, certification wise, education, and professionally, what are you trying to do? So every year I try to make a goal. I try to make a goal. What am I trying to accomplish for the year, and adjust it, and what am I trying to do, right? Dollar wise, business wise, and professional wise. If I don't respond, I got to go to them. I'm helping some young guys with their security. They're trying to do a startup, so I told them PBO would help them, but you got to give me some restricted stock options when you blow up, right? So I'm helping some young guys with some security for their startup. So I'll probably charge them a little bit later, make them buy me dinner or something. So I think that's all I got for today. Once again, Professor Black Ops. We're going over DevSecOps is AWS new security. Shout out to Engineering Cannabis. It uses machine learning and artificial intelligence. It looks to your cloud logs and it tells you if you're doing. It gives you recommendations on your DevOps, right? What services are you using? How are you using? Looking through your logs, how you're communicating to your database and your web server. From a development operation, it uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to do recommendations for your type of business and in your industry, right? So we're gonna go over that Sunday at 3. Well, we know we always do the class Sunday at 3, so we hitting that AWS. So we're gonna do DevOps. It's a service with Code Whisper, which is basically pair programming. If you're a programmer, we're just gonna skim over top. But you used to pair program with 2 people. Shout out to Engineering Cannabis. Now you pair programming with machine learning and artificial intelligence. Amazon said I think they have 1 billion lines of code for their data center. You order Christmas, you're ordering stuff, right? A lot, most of that is done through custom programming. So they took all that knowledge, used machine learning, data scientists to bring that out to regular companies so they can get the best practices that Amazon found when they were doing their own custom coding. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about on Sunday at 3. I'm getting those slides ready. As an ex-professor, I probably start teaching again. I got to find somewhere else. I want to teach. But long story short, we're gonna hit that up Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. If you go on my YouTube, I always have what's coming up on live on my YouTube channel. So if you ever need to know when I'm going live, just peek at that. It always shows up on my YouTube page. I think that's all I got. Everybody, TGIF. Have a great holiday. Let's go out there and get this knowledge, get this bag, get this AWS, get this Azure, get this machine learning, get this artificial intelligence. Shout out to project management. You can just boss the technology people around. Shout out, I'm trying to get one of my favorite project managers to come on. I'm going to start talking about technical jobs that get paid very well in IT and cybersecurity. Like I said, PMO, they boss me around a lot, but they get paid. So once again, Professor Black Ops, TGIF. I see y'all Sunday at 3. I'll probably do a couple more of these because I'm getting antsy on the bench. PBO is not happy on the bench, but everybody has a good day. I'll talk to you later.